What the fuck? No way. This is cool. Started here and then he flew and curved down this way. I got just the beginning of it. Oh, here's another one right here. You see him? Flying right over our heads. Pointing it right at him. And now he's turning.
Ooh,
yeah.
It flashed.
Yeah, you see him?
Yeah, it just flashed.
I'm lasering at him and he's curving.
6,000 years, mankind has been trying to decipher this one little thing called the flower of life. Have you guys ever seen this before? Now, you know this is one of the oldest symbols in human history, right? This symbol was found in the Temple of Osiris in Egypt, and it had been molecularly burned into the wall. And it's 6,000 years old. This same symbol has been found in the forbidden temples in China, sitting under the fufu dogs. And the foot on it, the flower of life, saying whoever controlled that flower of life controlled the universe. There were secrets in that flower of life that Da Vinci spent his whole life trying to uncover. There were secrets in that flower of life that Newton spent his whole life in secret trying to uncover. The same secrets that Pythagoras was desperately trying to uncover. But the problem was they kept seeing this in a two-dimensional space. They couldn't get it out of this two-dimensional frame, and as a result, they got stuck in this plane, a flat plane. Now, what Da Vinci and all of them wanted to do, they were trying to find a way to bring this flower to life, because what is inside of it? Well, apparently, there were secrets inside of it. Shapes, they got the Merkaba and all of those other things out of it. But they were misled by something I think called a straight line. You guys believe in straight lines? You believe there's straight lines in the universe? Well, let me hit you with something. All energy in the universe is expressed in what? It's in motion. If something is still, there's no energy. Kinetic, right? All motion is expressed in what? You look at galaxies, are they expressed in straight lines? Expressed in vortices. All vortices are expressed in what? Waves. All waves are curved. Show me a straight line in nature. You show me where the platonic solids come from. Where do they have their foundations in our universe? Are there any straight lines? If you look at anything, there are no straight lines. That's been the mistake. We've been looking at these straight lines, this Euclidean way of thinking, and missing the curvature of nature. So here we are, back with the curvature of nature. And you have all these little pieces. Now, this has always been an information system. So compare some of these points, take a point here, and say, well, what's the space in between all of these things? Now, they've said that all the in-between spaces, if this is the Earth and this is the moon right here, all this in-between space is filled with what? A void. There's nothing in the void. Well, I found that there is something in the void. The elementary fundamental particles that they've been searching for at the CERN collider, the Hadron Collider in CERN, I found that their energy signatures matched perfectly to some of the pieces that I was able to pull out of here.
You know, there's different things that I've been filming in the sky. You know, there's different types of objects, different types of light orbs and weird phenomena. These things in this video you can see are some sort of light orbs, and what my belief is that they're, well, I don't know if it's a belief yet, it's just a theory, is that they are partially materialized craft or beings of some kind, probably craft. And why I think they're partially materialized is because they only show up as light. If you watch the documentary Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, or listen to any of the Stephen Greer stuff, this is like mentioned he says in this podcast I was recently listening to that when these beings visit Earth, they more often than not will not fully materialize into a solid craft. Like,
yeah, this is the owl statue. What the No way. This is cool. Oh, that's hollow. They need to fill this pond up. They do. Yeah, that's the owl. A bunch of ferns have grown on it. Well, this is what I wanted to see. Oh, no way.
This explains our purpose on Earth if it's true. Y'all couldn't stop asking me about it, so here you go. Who are, I can't even say it, who are the Anunnaki? Simple terms, they're the true OG creation myth as recorded by the ancient Sumerians, who are widely regarded as the first ever civilization in history. Predating even the Egyptians, the Sumerians existed about 6,000 years ago. And in 1849, our whole understanding of ancient history was shattered when 14 tablets over 4,000 years old were uncovered in their region of Mesopotamia. Y'all ready for this one? Because these tablets pretty much explain our purpose on Earth in the most clear-cut way possible. This is the story of the Anunnaki, the Eridu Genesis. So, 445,000 years ago, yes, I said that number correctly, supposed creator gods came to Earth in search of resources. The Anunnaki, whose name can be taken to mean those from which heaven to Earth came. They came from another world called Nibiru, one that visits Earth every 3,600 years, ruled by their king Anu. Now here's the first red flag. Another planet visiting ours this infrequently is impossible, right? Not according to NASA. In fact, they've been finding evidence of this planet for years. Except they call it Planet X, or Planet 9, and many top-ranking researchers analyzed data and pretty much all but confirmed its existence. And the reason we can't see it is because its orbit looks like this. A super elongated path around the sun that only gets close to Earth every 3,600 years. And we know orbits like this are physically possible, as they've observed in other exoplanets. Anyway, story goes on to say that living conditions on Nibiru deteriorated and became hostile. So the Anunnaki came down to Earth for some goods, specifically water and gold, which apparently helps restore their planet's health. Now, it might just be a coincidence, but gold is actually used in modern spacecraft to shield from radiation, so were the Sumerians aware of that? They established a base on Earth called Eridu, made for collecting these resources in the Persian Gulf. They send down Enki, Anu's son, to lead this expedition and rule over Eridu. With him, he brought the Igigi, another race of demigods who were essentially their slaves to gather the gold and water they needed. Now, the Igigi were down bad after 250,000 years of slave labor with little rewards, so they revolted but lost, and now the Anunnaki had no workers. So Anu orders Enki to create a new slave race, intelligent yet obedient. Enki combines his essence with a species of cave-dwelling savages that exist on Earth at this time. That would be Homo erectus, our prehistoric ancestors. And through this process, he created humans, us, Homo sapiens. Now, this combining of essence is taken to be interpreted as genetic engineering. Sounds absolutely ridiculous, I know, but y'all remember Bob Lazar? The whistleblower on all that UFO, space tech, and aliens, which literally all turned out to be true? Just listen to what he had to say about certain classified documents regarding genetic engineering.
There is an extremely classified document dealing with religion, and it's about that tech, saying basically that basically that we're a product of genetic engineering from someone. Yeah, how can you just swallow that whole?
I don't know about you, but he clearly seemed genuinely uncomfortable talking about this, and I can't think of any reason he'd have to lie about it. So in the tablets, they called this new species the first men, translated to Adamu. Now in Hebrew, Adam translates to man, so Adamu was taken to mean men of Adam. Does that name sound familiar to you? Reminder that these tablets were dated to around 2400 BC, a whole 1,000 years before the book of Genesis was first said to be written. These new genetic hybrid humans started working the mines in place of the original Igigi, which in return for their work were educated with the gift of civilization. Language, agriculture, governing, housing, technology, medicine. Some Anunnaki got a little close with the humans and bred with them. Yes, that's exactly what you think it means, and gave birth to giants, even though they were specifically instructed to not procreate with them. At this point, there's a new leader in charge, Enlil, who was Enki's brother, and he wasn't having any of this debauchery. But no biggie, because he had a population control plan in place. A cataclysmic event that wipes humanity from the Earth, said to be caused by Nibiru's gravitational effect on Earth, aka the Great Flood. How convenient. Enlil took this opportunity to dip back to Nibiru so that Earth can be rid of all these unworthy inhabitants. The translations claim that Enlil and his crew left in their celestial boats that took them to the sky and circled Earth. Hey, that sounds like spaceships, rockets, and orbits to me. But Enki felt more sympathy, so he instructed some chosen humans to build boats so they could survive the flood. Noah's Ark, anyone? The flooding lasted for 7 days, yet another creation story told by almost every other culture of our past. There is countless proof of this intense flooding all around the world, but that's a rabbit hole for another time. The small number of humans that survived the flood started to rebuild civilization. Enki and other Anunnaki helped them rebuild in all corners of the Earth, which is said to have given rise to the pyramids, megaliths, and advanced masonry techniques that we see all over the world. And eventually they left Earth and they had one civilization that was more advanced than the rest. This were the Sumerians. This exact story is even told in the Atrahasis of the Akkadians and the Enuma Elish from the Babylonians. Now this is where it gets trippy. The Anunnaki appointed kings, humans that acted as their representatives on Earth to make sure that the people still lived under their control, whose ruling authority would be passed down every generation in what would become the elite class as we know today. You know, Rothschilds, Illuminati, royal family, Freemasons, whatever you want to call it. And it's how they continued to rule Earth for thousands of years to this day from a planet far ass away. Basically, the story claims that we're a genetically engineered species that were designed as slaves to serve a ruling class. And we really do see this slave master paradigm all throughout history. Up until the last couple hundred years, the entire world population was divided into a peasant class and an upper class of royals, nobles, the rulers, kings, emperors, shoguns, and the plebs they rule over. But today, things are different. Or are they? Did the peasant class just become the modern day working class? And the ruling class now work behind the scenes in an attempt to give us the illusion of freedom?